time to get somebody the help they need, but for real this time, because now he's admitted that he has a problem. And it has a name. But I've forgotten her name, because it's a difficult name to remember. Don't tell anybody. This is a fun playthrough. I like it. Definitely the biggest stumbling block is just the sheer number of spells. Is just, what the fuck, man? What the actual fuck is up with how many spells these people have? It's kind of refreshing that he only can have 4 per tier, because at least then it's like manageable. Whereas like these characters, I'm like, oh man. I remember like 3 spells per tier basically. And I kind of forget the other ones even exist until it's an emergency, and I'm searching them all to see if one of them happens to counter the effect I'm trying to deal with. I'm here. I'm looking for an expert on awakenings. She laughs bitterly. That would be me. So the lack of research subjects has made me more of an expert in counting floorboards. I would like to transfer Animancy's success in buttressing pre-awakened souls to soothing those whose souls have already awakened. But I need subjects, and most of the patients here are too broken to produce reliable results. It's a tragedy to have come so far for nothing. You're in luck. I have a volunteer. She springs to the balls of her feet, beaming. Gerald! No. Gelade! Who is it? Elot's lips curl into a frown. I don't know about this. She grins more broadly still. Don't be silly, the process is perfectly harmless. All you must do is stand in that cage. I beg your pardon? I jest. You Adirans are so uptight. I do not even know what the thing is used for. It belonged to the last occupant in this office, I think. Now, they upgrade him to a cell. Again, I jest. It's hard to believe that you're joking when there is literally a cage there, though. She rubs her hands together, getting down to business. So, I need you to sit here. She takes Aloth by the shoulders and steers him to the couch. And try to relax. Don't try too hard. Then you will not be relaxing. Indeed. His eyes are humorless. And you must also wear these. A little cold, but the copper will help conduct your essence. The Animancer fastens thick copper bands to Aloth's forehead and wrists. And as she ratchets them tighter, his face twitches with suppressed irritation. Now, I will examine your soul through my scope. She reaches into her desk and produces a long chambered tube. Knobs, dials, and small toothed wheels run along the side of the device. It is fitted with Adra lenses cut to different thicknesses and concavities. By manipulating them, I find the angles and densities that allow me to track the anomalies in your soul. Does this mean we'll get to talk to Isilmir more? I like that lady. She raises a finger. But first we must find this cunning interloper. You will answer some personal questions while I make adjustments. Good luck. You'll have an easier time getting straight answers from a drunk priest of Vale. Aloth squirms on the couch. Very well. She holds the scope to her eye and flicks a knob. To begin with, tell me something personal. Something from a time before your awakening. There's nothing to tell. I was just a normal child living in Sithwood. He looks to you. His face is set in a frown, but the rigid edges of apprehension show through nevertheless. What do you remember about your home? As you speak to Aloth, you feel your voice like a bell in your chest. It tolls softly, luring him into the mists of his own memory. Belisage doesn't seem to notice anything, but you feel as if your words are soothing his essence, untangling its many threads. He closes his eyes. Comfortable. Modest. Quiet when Mother is away, which is most of the time. Quiet enough to hear the clink of glass on wood. This is when I know to be most careful. Father is good about hiding the bottles. Mother, when she is home, is good at pretending not to notice them. This is good. I'm starting to see something. Continue. Tell us about the time you awakened. She bites her tongue as she twists one of the dials. I am in my 5th year of training. Mother is home. I can let my guard down a little, because when she is around, he is usually only angry with her. But he has heard that I have had trouble casting missiles, that my flame shields are unstable. He is furious that I have failed, and Mother's presence reminds him that he has failed too. The first blow takes me by surprise. One moment, I am sweeping the kitchen. The next I am sprawled on the ground, stupidly looking at flecks of my blood on the tile. His boots, glistening with fresh polish, thud across the floor. He kicks me in the stomach, and I curl up to shield my vitals, but it's pointless. Protecting one thing only leaves something else exposed. Still huddled on the ground, I retreat as fast as I can. I retreat until the vision of the kitchen and my own trembling knees is nothing but a pinprick against a field of black. His jaw locks and his eyes twitch beneath their lids. Madicho! Belisage furiously cranks the knobs along her scope. He's hypnotized himself with his old memory. You gotta bring him out of it, quickly. I almost have it. Oh, Madicho's a bad thing. Apparently. He's hypnotized himself with his old memory. So we awoke a trauma, and now he's living in that memory, which is like a PTSD symptom. Squeeze Eloth's hand. You're safe. Everything's fine. Eloth's eyes snap open, but the expression you see in them isn't his. He is ne'er safe when I hap upon him. Belisage sucks a deep breath through her teeth. That's it. I'm seeing a shift in his essence. Something spreading and congealing. She glances at you over her scope. Keep talking. He seems to respond to you. What brought you here? Cracking bones and voices high in here. A warm molasses feeling creeps down your gut when your crisis is nigh. That's different. Elfedo. We have flares of a totally distinct essence. She jots shorthand notes onto the pages next to her and turns one clicking knob of her scope. Now, try to get the two of them talking. Isilmir, tell Eloth why you've awakened. Why, he's the one needing me. Hiding in his own bone bag like a turtle in its shell. Eloth's face twists in fury. I never turned it over to you. Good, good. Very good. She rests from her scribbling only to make another adjustment to her scope. I can now see two separate patterns of essence. Where he ebbs, the other flows. It's as if the awakened soul fills the spaces that he leaves empty. She prompts you with a circling of her wrists, quill still in hand. Go on. Eloth, what's this about ceding space to Isilmir? He grits his teeth painfully. I've given her nothing. She usurps me in my own body. Aye, and I lend him a pair, too. You should ask what I did with that old man of his. How the last time he laid a hand on us, I break it in 3 places. I can't even begin to do this. The accent. It's horrible. I'm losing it and I'm morphing it. Eloth's head jerks to the side. That wasn't your decision. It's never been your decision. This would be more powerful if it was voice acted. Just because it's the 2 separate personalities. I was awakening. But now I'm stuck with you. And damned if I let your ninnying drag us both through the scooper. Very good. She lowers her scope and consults her notes. I think I finally found something we can work with. I've tracked Isilmir's essence throughout the exchange. She has a particularly high density index during the most heated portions of their argument, and her essence seems to localize most clearly in the lower portion of the subject's left ribcage. That's right around the spleen, which of course means that she is triggered by black bile. No doubt the subject's characteristic melancholy is to blame. Eloth blinks at you, and in the midst of his perturbation, you're not quite sure who's looking out of his eyes. That's utter horseshit. How gracious. She glares at him. Yes, never mind my years of training. I suppose you have a better explanation? Is black bile related to conflict in any way? I don't know anything about that organ, really. You're close. I think Isilmir's appearances are related to potential sources of trouble for Eloth. Belisage carefully scratches her jaw, her gaze darting between you and Eloth. I suppose that could be true. She jots another note. I'll have to check this against other research. He removes the copper bands. Well and good for you, but what does this mean for me? Belisage frowns at her notes, tapping her cheek with a quill and making a grand show of concentration. However, you catch her stealing a glance at you over the pages. It seems Isilmir steps in when she determines that you're in danger. It's not clear yet whether this is from a help or a hindrance. From my position, I'd say it's pretty clearly a hindrance. I've got a lot to process. Regardless, thank you for your help, Jaskier. He does not look at Belisage. She sets her notes on her desk and returns to her scope. Well, I hope this has been useful to you, as it has been to me. I finally have material worth publishing. You'll be the toast of Revua. Bentre Aloth? What does that mean? Is that must be an honorific of some sort, because we don't know his... I don't think we know his name otherwise. God damn, there's a lot of experience. His grimace melts into a crooked smile. Aye, advancing the right-wise principles of animancy. Just what you've always wanted. Oh, that was her. I guess I could have told that from the fact that they were smiling. As you turn to leave, you catch a darting movement out of the corner of your eye. Belisage is humming to herself, still occupied with her scope, but Eloth is holding her notes. He's just about to tuck them into his cloak when he catches you watching. He holds a finger to his lips, his eyes wide and imploring. Please, I don't want my personal information published like this, especially not after her nonsense. There we go. Fair enough, but do it quietly. He hides the papers in his cloak. Not to worry. We'll see to this on our own. Well, he went and stole the research immediately. Yeah, it got really personal. Oh my god, I'm losing everything to bandits. Why do I even pay security? What the fuck? Like, straight up, why do I pay security at all at this point? I've been losing more money since I got security. By a significant margin. Shit. Huh. So at the moment, that's it. That's an end to his quest. I wonder if he'll have another quest later, or if that's just the end, all of the Aloth storytelling we get. But yeah, that started like digging into deep personal trauma, being public record. I don't know. But we did use her. Not that it necessarily cost her anything, it was just... And she still knows what she saw, if nothing else. In fact, she'd probably just write it down again, frankly. A curse of cold clay. All across the Eastern Reach, people are being burned in graveyards and returned from the dead as vampires. That's similar to a vampire? Examination by locals has revealed that animancers had tampered with several grave sites prior to the burial. Local lords have released bounties for the capture of whoever is responsible. Unfortunately, the rapid spread of the events leads many to believe that a group, not a single individual, is behind the experiments. Grieving Mother traveled from Hangman's Abbey to the Bay of Crowns, investigating the various reports of vampire appearances. In each case, Grieving Mother discovered that the grave sites had elaborate glass, copper, and ager devices buried around them. The distinctive intricacies of the devices was traced to a Valian dwarf that had been shunned for its unpleasant practices in Salona and Ansenze. When captured, the dwarf claims his intent was not to create vampires, but to restore life. The vampires were created due to the dwarf's inability to solve a fundamental problem with his machinery. The incredible frequency of the dwarf's activity was not due to co-conspirators, but rather his extensive use of drugs that kept him awake and frantic for days on end. Once confronted, the dwarf put up no fight and allowed himself to be taken into custody. When Grieving Mother left him, he was awaiting trial in Teir. Remembrance of life's warmth. This curious device, created by a deranged dwarven animancer, has the ability to cast the druid spell Garden of Life. Not the strongest thing ever. Weird that it says plus 20 endurance, plus 20 endurance. I guess it's just a 40 endurance AoE. Bummer that it's 3 uses, though. That means that you use it up and it's gone forever, right? It doesn't say... It doesn't say per encounter, and it doesn't say per rest. It just says 3 uses. Huh. Man, all of my money's going to goddamn bandits. What do I pay you fuckers for?
Yeah. Sure.
Better get going before they realize that we took their shit. And probably never come back here again. Pro tip. So I guess we're gonna go back to Heritage Hill. I get the feeling things have not exactly resolved in the capital. Probably still having this endless hearing.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
So let's go take a look-see. In the vision, I figured out how to open the door. Find the tower. Yep. The question is, did anyone else spawn? Guess we'll find out. Nope, doesn't seem like it. Undying heritage. The acolyte showed me a vision of an ancient tower in a derelict district of Defiance Bay. There was a strange man in the tower working on some kind of machine. I also saw a woman with a scar over her heart. I don't know where she is, but I suspect that she holds the key to whatever happened there. The leaden key was interested in this tower for some reason. I understand what it does if I'm to figure out their plans. Right, the woman with the hole in her heart. Let's go check that out. Because there may be new context now that I have a reason to talk to her. Hopefully letting out the prisoners doesn't like ruin that quest line or something if it's necessary to do something with her. I don't know. She straight up wouldn't even acknowledge that I did that, which was weird.
You return. What if you come seeking this time?
I saw you in a vision. There's something you need to do for me.
Believe me, I've heard that line before. It's rude to stare, you know. Don't worry. I've no mind to start anything with you. After all, I've stayed in such good shape by choosing my meals carefully.
She laughs to herself. Nope. Still no additional context or interaction. Blep. I've stayed in such good shape by choosing my meals carefully. The implication, because I think they don't heal, right? So if she takes damage to her current body, it's permanent because she's Zombo. And yet she was impervious to me. That had to just be for story reasons, right? There's plot armor. The massive stone door of the tower is sealed. There doesn't appear to be any way of opening it. Speak the words you learned from the leaden key acolyte. You hear rumbles and clanks from hidden tumblers as the door unlocks. Ah, you've got to have the secret password. Who could have guessed? Who do we got? Ah, a ghoul. Vanilla. Downright vanilla. Oh, there's a lot of you guys. Okie dokie. And one of them's already dead. As you'd expect. Oh yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Hello, what if I summoned an additional bad thing on you? There we go. Hey everybody, click. Yeah. Not gonna last. This place looks neat.
Sure.
And I have no memory of this, so I think this is all new. And yet I thought I got to Act 2. Am I already in Act 2? I'm already in Act 2, it just doesn't... I don't... Oh. How long have I been in Act 2? Wait, how long have I been in Act 2? Huh. Wow. I have a save that refers to the drugs, the Sfef. It looks like Act 2 begins the moment you come to this town. Oh, I've been in Act 2 for weeks. Okay. I didn't notice. I don't even know if the game announced that I was in Act 2. Okay. Well. I learned something. I'm already in Act 2. Valtus groundskeeper. Lord Valtus's will. Those, I don't think those come up. Yeah, I guess they're not. They would have been in my quest inventory if they were quest items. So I guess that explains them not coming up in other ways. Crumpled page from Aldhelm's journal. Day 7. A week of study and we're still none the wiser about this device. Trindig remains optimistic. I don't know what I'd do without his spirit. Trindig's letter. Dearest Mother and Father, you'll be pleased to hear that I've learned much already since coming to the city. There are many incredible ruins nearby, and Master Greg has allowed me to accompany him on a number of expeditions. I'm writing to you from inside an ancient Engwithan tower. There's an entire district built up around it, but the locals have mostly left the tower untouched. They have let us set up temporary living quarters here, so our work can continue uninterrupted. It is an unsettling place at times, but Master Greg has been a constant comfort. and he is quick to remind me that the things he learned from this tower may one day help us find a cure for Wild One's legacy. I'd better get some rest now. Mr. Gregg likes to get an early start to the day. All in love, Trindig. So they're working on a cure for Wild One's legacy, just like every character, basically. Oh, that's the cult I went to. That's an old note. How about this one? Only found in the Gift After Dark. You need to find Kerned. Yeah, I've never followed up on that yet. Go to the Gift After Dark. Rabbit fur gloves, +1. There's a 10% increased crit damage as far as I can tell. Rabbit fur gloves appeared in Adiran fables and bedtime stories for hundreds of years, typically as lucky gifts to individuals of particular virtue. The gloves were first mentioned in a bedtime story about a girl who, in the midst of a famine, gave a piece of fruit to an elderly crone. The old woman in turn gave rabbit fur gloves to the girl. Though it was summer, she accepted them graciously. She wore them and managed to forage enough to feed her family, and a few short seasons later she became a hunter of uncanny skill. In other stories, the gloves are given to brave warriors, hard-working servants, and honest shopkeepers. The last story to mention the gloves is that of the notorious pickpocket Sanduran, who lost them when he stole an apple from a wizened old crone. Although the gloves appear to be sewn from the fur of different rabbits, there's no detectable seam between the many colored pelts. They're soft and cozy, yet when you put your hands in them, your fingers still feel quick and nimble. A rabbit's foot dangles from the left glove, and their natural warmth suggests the presence of an essence. And you're not wearing gloves yet, so whoop. Not only does it match the blue setup of every piece of equipment she's currently wearing, but it also matches with her being a hunter. So that's nice. That's nice. Essence shimmers and pulsates within the strange device. Alright, where's Olgra? The mattress is lumpy and smells of old straw, but whoever slept here last made it neatly. There seems to be a bit of a revenant issue in this room. Okay. Just hold this door for a bit. Hold the door. Hold the door. Oh, didn't mean for a disengage to happen. I just meant to abuse the doorway for my own purposes. You guys didn't hear the fight in the other room? I guess you guys don't have ears anymore, so obvious handicap. Sent Wadwin. Farmer become god. I'm pretty sure I've read this before. Yep. That's his first-hand account of becoming a figure. Page from Aldhelm's journal. Day 2. We've completed our measurements of the machine, thanks to Trindig's youthful agility. Further examination is required to discover its intended use. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Trindig.
Yeah.
Just because learning German and so on, I think of the word richtig, and like the idea that like words that end with an IG, or especially a TIG or TIG and stuff like that, might be pronounced. That G might be pronounced like an SH sound, strangely, based on the language. Well, that's a strong chokehold that really reduces the effectiveness of everyone. Oh well. They're gonna be melting now. There we go. Wow, I killed the backline first. I do like money. How did you know? Patting the scratchy old coverlet thickens the air with dust. No one has used this bed in weeks. Did I see stairs? There they are. Okay. Any little secret compartments around here? I feel like that's where they'd be. Maybe not. Well, their cool central device looks like it's still running. This place isn't a ruin, but it does seem to be abandoned. Is that the medallion from the what am I thinking of? Am I thinking of Neverending Story? Is that what I'm thinking of? I don't know. The particular medallion looking design just kind of stood out to me as something that, like, is distinctly memorable. Anybody alive up here by any chance? And, like, not back to life, but, like, still alive instead? Oh, well. Time to do a fighting on you. Ooh, ooh. You're charging in, huh? It's fine, just enter my big old melt zone. Enter my melting zone. By the way, I cannot believe how fucking big interdiction is. Oh my god. That is such a huge casting radius. It's really excessive. It's distressing even. There we go. Clean. Ooh. Deal 200 raw damage to enemies with Gwyd to get the next level. 10% chance to cast a Dominate on a hit or critical hit. Look. Wow. Okay. It doesn't even say how many times per encounter, it just says you have it. Okay. Durance's auto attack makes people join our team for a while. Okay. That's pretty good. Next one is do 300 damage to prone enemies. Or deal 1500 damage with it. Okay. So either do 1500 damage in general or 300 damage to prone enemies. Which prone does happen, but I don't think anything about this helps prone happen. No. I need Eder or someone to do that. Yeah, the entire thing's made of sapphire except for its grip. Inegird, the most famous scepter in Adir and perhaps all of Eora, is held jointly by the Meswin and Faircornish as a symbol of royal authority, and is said to carry the souls of early chieftains in its Adra head. Though traditionally thought of as symbolic, there have been few notable times in history where it is put to practical use. In one such instance, Meswin Eleia had her claim to the throne challenged by an older half-sister claiming to be a legitimate heir. Eleia invited her to court so that people might hear her words with her own ears and judge for themselves. The woman spoke at length and showed a number of sworn documents that to those present at court. Eleia summoned her to the throne and told her that if the chieftains of Inagir judged her worthy, the Meswin would abdicate. But this is the geared, which is different. Oh, Inagir is the most famous scepter in Adir. But this is something else. I think that might be the origin story to the creation of the gear. Of the like it started off as Inagir, and then it became a different scepter, maybe as the story concludes. The works of the Angwithans, a comprehensive guide. The scroll contains a pen and ink diagram of the Adra device running through the tower. Despite copious measurements and carefully drawn detail, it gives no indication of the machine's purpose. Like they're keeping it a secret on purpose. Day 11. Finally got out of the tower to clear our heads. Beasts take the patrons. We'll finish the study on our own terms, our own time. Just as I said as much to Trinjik, the sky came to life with stray lightning. I said it's a good omen, but the poor lad's spooked. Only cure for that's a good night's sleep. It is a very Frankenstein moment. Like, no, we will be the gods. We will do this on our own terms. Oh no. Maybe we are the bads. There's the stairs. Howdy. Die.
Let's go. Wait, see.
The pulling, pounding energy in the machine feels even stronger up here. A folded page. Roller paralysis. Why can't I just... Can't I? Yeah, I can. That is what I thought. They do stack. Day 10. Patrons grow impatient with the lack of quantifiable results. They should drag themselves out of their mansions and spend a few nights here if they think it's so easy. Somebody's getting sassy. Where'd it go? Letter from Acantha, added to stash. Aldhelm. I did indeed receive your recent summons, as well as the two that came before it. I'd been waiting for you to present yourself on my doorstep so that I could give you my answer in person, a firm and unwavering no. I won't help you. In fact, I relish the idea of you and your team of glorified engineers sitting in that tower sweating over the ruins I've studied for years. Nothing gives me greater pleasure than knowing that my research, which you've long disparaged, is the missing puzzle piece in your mundane little puzzle. As you well know, it's knowledge I've always valued. I'm just around the corner. I encourage you to find me should you wish to rehash this conversation in person. Yours truly, Acantha. Now will she talk to me? Sigil of the Arcane. +1 intellect. Arcane dampener. Beneficial effects suspended for 15 seconds on the enemy. Neat, but also 1 intellect. Also neat. You have a turban of intellect, Kana's turban. Keep forgetting that he has that now. Ah. Do you have one from your turban? You don't have any. Bonus area of effect, bonus duration. Yeah, you're doing fine. No intellect for Pallegina. Does she have any AoE? There's also the will bonus. No. The endurance. .2 meters. Yep. Oh, it's a ring. Constitution might resolve. And 5 deflection. But I want to give you intellect. 5 deflection is kind of nice. 2 reflex. If I gave you intellect, what would that even do?
Hey.
Yeah, he doesn't have radii to augment. And the people that do, you got Rundle's Finery. You've got Kana's Turban. How much does it affect her radius?
I'm ready.
0.2 meters. Might not be worth it. Could just put it on Adair. Just to give him one more stat bonus, which all of the stats affect some kind of defensive roll. One intellect is admittedly kind of behind the curve for our bonuses at this point. Kind of torn about whether I should go to the top first or go back. Maybe I'll go to the top first. Ah, we're at the top. Wow, this looks like it's from Tyranny. Is that one of the characters we've heard of?
Let's try this configuration. Still nothing. Confounded device.
You're definitely... Oh yeah, he's definitely a ghoul now. Did you make all this happen? Did you kill everyone? A man hunches over the strange mechanism, his spine a sharp ridge rising from his arched back. He's barely clothed in filthy rags, and the patches of skin you see are mottled green. A spoiled stench emanates from him. He's so intent on his work that he doesn't notice you until your shadow falls over him. When he turns and sees you, he snarls and scuttles behind the Aedra pedestal. Only his bared teeth seem to have escaped decay. His eyes are yellowed and bloodshot, but they flicker with intelligence. He averts his gaze and holds a hand in front of his face.
Shouldn't be here. What do you want?
Tell me what happened here.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
He smashes a fist into the Aedra pillar. His hand makes a crunching noise but doesn't bleed.
Forgive me. Forgive me.
He covers his face with his other hand.
Research. We came to do research on the tower. Some commission from gods. It hardly matters now.
Eloth's lips twist in disgust. If I had a copper skate for every fool animancer whose thirst for knowledge led to a disaster, well, I never would have ended up in Gilded Vale, that's for sure. Stick to the present. When did the disaster start?
Something happened on our 11th night. Lights in the sky and a static charge in the air. But we were so careful. We were staying in the chambers below. Trindig, my assistant, said he saw a robed figure lurking around the tower. Wore a mask. Carried knives at his sides. A trick of shadows, I told him. The next morning, we felt strange. Like we hadn't eaten in weeks. So dazed that we didn't at first notice the blood around our beds. The strange wounds that had appeared overnight. And the machine, this cursed spire, dormant for 2,000 years, lifeless through hundreds of our experiments, and we wake that morning to find it spinning on its own. On its own! How can we stop what we couldn't start?
So somebody else activated this spire, and that probably caused everything. There's a few candidates. We have the woman that's downstairs, the neighbor. Then we also have the guy in the sewers that we met that seems to be also an animancer. Somebody already knew how to make this thing run, apparently. And he probably killed both of them in their sleep. Which led to them only getting back up because the machine was running.
Years I've been doing this. Years. I know how these things work, but I don't know how this happened. Nowhere to go. That's the problem. Their souls are trapped here like flies in a jar, clinging to rotting meat.
Slow down. What does this machine have to do with souls?
No time to slow down. But I can explain. Hold a magnet over iron splinters and they stick, yes? Rub your hand over weir wool and the hair of your head will follow it. So it is with this machine.
He looks at you and runs his tongue along the edges of his fine, strong teeth. He quickly looks away.
It has the power to manipulate souls, but why? For what? And how many others lie buried in the ruins of Erglonfath? No. Focus on this one. It's imprisoned our souls in our bodies. Cut the root between essence and flesh. Left a dwindling soul stuck in a shriveling husk.
There was a stranger in the tower the night this happened.
I didn't see him. My assistant, he saw him. We laughed. Said he was spooked by the cemetery. Perhaps it was already too late. I don't know what he did. But by morning the machine was on and we were slain. People were already on the streets, complaining of neighbors and family members acting strangely.
You're not like the ghouls in the street.
Not yet. But I will be. My body is dead. My soul, imprisoned in this corpse, only makes it seem otherwise. And as the body decays, so does the mind. Until nothing is left but the hunger. The only way to forestall the process is through a regular infusion of essence. Living flesh is the only ready supply. I'm not proud of any of it. Hunting men and women in the early days of the affliction. Picking off soldiers that came to investigate. But I'd do it again. I'll do it as long as I must to end this disaster. You could help. Help me end this. Help me find sustenance.
His eyes glitter, and he licks his lips with a cracked and shriveled tongue. What happened to the rest of your team?
By the time I realized what had happened, the district had already been sealed. So we fed when we needed, and locked ourselves in the tower to work. And then there came a time when the hunger struck. And there was hardly anyone left.
How can I help?
Not your help I need. It's Harridan Shrew squanders her research on frivolities, then refuses to make herself useful. Runes. The runes are the last part of the puzzle. Acantha knows them. She gives them to you, and you can turn the machine off. Release our souls.
She wasn't here the night the machine came on, staying with her patron somewhere near, too good to be burdened with our ignorant company. I'll get the words from Acantha.
Yes, Acantha. She was here, in the district. Probably here still, always prepared. Clever lady, that one. And perhaps you bring me something. Something to keep me sharp. Then I show you a secret about the machine. Something to make you strong.
Palagina clenches her jaw, her eyes narrowing suspiciously. Escanto. His condition has turned him into little more than an animal. Don't do it. Bro, distressing? He wants me to feed him people, right? And a source of sustenance for him. Yeah, they're using a lot of euphemism. They're not really explaining what they mean. But it's not good. Standing near the device feels like being blown about by a storm gale. The stone steps hum with energy. Alright. Ecantha is it. It is. Ooh, nice. They gave me a skip to the bottom command. Which means they'll probably let me skip to the top later, too. So I don't have to load several floors. Ah, you didn't skip to the bottom, though. You only skipped like one floor. I want you to skip all the way. And there she is. She seems really spiteful, but is she so spiteful that she'll allow herself to be a ghoul? Just to spite them from the symbols? Or is it her plan in the first place? Dying out of pure spite is a hell of a move.
You return. What have you come seeking this time?
I need the words that operate the Ingwithan machine in the tower.
That fool Aldhelm. He sent you, didn't he? I can hardly believe he's had the cleverness to survive. That simpleton thinks he can understand how to use something without understanding what it is, or why it is.
She laughs, a noise that blends the crunch of dry leaves with something piercing and white hot. You feel a hot core of pride smoldering at the center of her soul.
He dabbles with ancient and powerful devices, with all the finesse of a blacksmith. He sends you here to petition me for aid after years of disparaging my research. I'll bet he didn't even tell you the tower's name, did he? That's his problem. Always looking for solutions without caring for meaning.
The problem and Heritage Hill are bigger than your rivalry, Ecantha. What do I care? I prepared myself for an eventuality such as this, and I can assure you those dwindling souls in the streets are beyond caring as well. Her pride burns brighter still. She just sucks. Tell me the tower's name.
Teir Nowneth. It's called Teir Nowneth. They built the machine atop it to contain souls, hold them in place. But the others I've seen, machines scattered all over the Deerwood, are relays built to move souls.
Why would they move souls?
Another mystery. Hypothetically, anywhere they wished. The real question, as always, is why? To intermix them the way a player shuffles his deck, the way a farmer rotates his fields? To collect them like butterflies under glass? To melt them down for raw essence? Unfortunately, I don't know.
Why would the Ingwithans have wanted to tether souls like this?
Perhaps they didn't. Perhaps that's why they built no other machines like this one. We now see the Ingwithans as masters of soul manipulation, but they couldn't have attained their expertise without copious trial and error. Perhaps this was one such experiment.
You seem to know a lot about Teir Nowneth.
I read the runes like a journal. I understand their meaning People like Aldhelm try to read them like instructions, and in so doing, they miss their true meaning completely.
How do you operate the machine at top-tier Nowneth?
Back to these tinkers' concerns. And what would you do with these tethered souls if I told you?
Or destroy them, what? Release them is the correct answer. Harvest might be what she wants to hear. To have it be like something ruthless. Distressing. I'd release them.
So you say. And just what would you release them to? They'd abandon their existence here for another somewhere else, equally aimless and meaningless.
I could help you, but I won't. The pride lodged in her soul flares up, twisting into the shape of something that writhes and squeals within her. Here, I have specimens aplenty, and time enough to observe them all. It's every scientist's dream. My answer is no. You can extinguish Acantha's pride. It does seem like it's the problem here. But it's the thing. It's a power I have? Honestly, fuck her, so yeah. See what that does. The vampire doesn't seem to notice as you wrap your mind around the squalling, burning mass. However, it sears your very bones. You jump back, crying out of pain. I won't abandon this opportunity. These souls will remain here, with me, and I'll accomplish more than any animancer in the history of the field. And who will know about it? The pride thing flickers as the flames around it abate. All I've learned, years of studying the Angwithan language, no one understands it better than me. That counts for something. Your opportunities here are finite. One day that knowledge will die with you. The pride hisses and sputters. It's little more than an ember now. You're wrong. But there's no conviction in her voice. I'll build it forever. I'll cling to it. That will give me something. Teach me what you know. I'll make sure that it grows and your legacy lives on. Your words finally quench her pride, and all that remains is a blackened diamond-hard rock. You cast it away, where it melts into the darkness.
So be it. My studies and efforts shall grow through yours.
I've got Ni no Kuni powers, where I manipulate people's vices and try to defeat them so that they behave differently.
These are the words you need.
Her cold, dry fingertips rest on your temples, and you feel her reaching into your mind, forming images from the darkness. Runes flash through your head, but they're no longer just pictures. They have meaning, and you understand them. They're commands. Something triggers in your mind, a distant memory unearthed from a past life long since buried. You can see a vast array of runes, far more than Acantha has shown you, and you know their sound and their meaning, and how they fit together. The language of Engwith once more at your command.
Something has awakened in your mind. You understand far more than I ever did. Take this knowledge then, and do what you will with Teir Nowneth. Now that you understand its purpose, it will serve you in whatever way you wish.
Certainly. Well, I can understand their language now? That's an important thing to know for the rest of the game. A series of towers. It really is like tyranny, huh? That are all connected to each other. Or, you said the other towers around the Deerwood were constructed to move souls. Why would the Angwithans have wanted to do that? Yeah, these are all the same dialogue as before. What do I do with the tower now that I know these words?
Turn it off, I expect. That will be easy now that you can read the runes. The vessels would still roam, but striking them down would return their essence to the cycle. But be careful. That machine controls hundreds of souls, and that volume of essence could easily overload it. Improperly channeling the essence would destroy the machine along with the souls. It would be a terrible loss for posterity.
Improperly channeling the essence would destroy the machine along with the souls. Are they saying that that's what happens if I don't turn it off? If I do one of the other options? Or can I fuck up at turning it off? It sounds like if I turn it off, everyone becomes... all the ghouls that are around still stay as ghouls, but if they're defeated, then the soul moves on. I think she's saying that if I do something else with it, and I'm reckless with it, then I could destroy the machine and the souls. Which, that's a permanent death. Because we have an infinite reincarnation universe where people just loop and have new lives over and over again. Like Andy Weir's story, The Egg. The short story written by the guy that wrote Artemis and The Martian. And it's about infinite reincarnation, essentially. Except in that story, all people on the entire Earth are one person, looping forever. Whereas in this case, it's a series of parallel reincarnations. But if the souls are destroyed, those are lost forever, which also means more Hollowborn, because there's fewer and fewer souls in the budget. That's one way to have permanent population control in your universe, is to have limited souls, apparently. And then the machine would be gone too. I don't know. Destroying it seems like it might do this place some good. Ed, losing souls is bad. Explain how the control words work. Harnessing the power of Teir Nowneth is about understanding what it was designed to do. You know the words and their meanings. You can speak them, and the tower shall obey. That's all. Thanks. Yeah, they totally plot armored her. That's why I couldn't attack her before. And I can see why. She's a mandatory NPC for the main story, as it turns out. Whoops. That sure would have changed the narrative if attacking her actually killed her.